Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. Great to have you with us tonight. Bank Holiday Monday, remember? In case you've forgotten, it just seems like a regular Monday, but it is Bank Holiday Monday. And here, as a special guest with me tonight, we've got Lee Gunner. How you doing?
Thank you for having me on, Robbie. Appreciate that. I'm as good as I could probably be. I'm stuck in a country that I don't live in. Can't get back.
You don't live in? Where you live?
I live in Spain.
Well, so you're fully, I know you was over in Spain, but like what, you're fully Espanol now?
Well, I can't really speak the lingo properly. Although I could probably speak Spanish better than Emery could speak English.
What? So for real now, you actually live in Spain now. That is like your home of residence.
Yeah. I moved there November the 1st, last year. Came back for a couple of weeks at Christmas just to see family, friends, stuff like that. Then I went back over, just getting settled nicely, everything getting like how I want it and stuff like that. And then I came back here for a week as a planned trip, and then everything's been locked off ever since. It's funny, I bought one rucksack back with a couple of pairs of jeans, a pair of tracksuit bottoms, a couple of tops. And I've had to buy clothes since I've been here because everything's in Spain. It's been mad. Wow. It's been absolutely crazy. But they're on lockdown until 26th, and then apparently they're going to continue that afterwards until the 10th of May. So yeah, I've come back for a week, 3.5 weeks ago now, which is pretty great. But what can you do?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I know you've been out there, but I didn't realize that that's where you call home now, that Spain is home.
Right. Yeah, man. Listen, I've been there over 200 times. So I've always wanted to live in Spain. Yeah, I love the weather. I just love the people, the food, the atmosphere. It's just so chilled over there. Over here, it's just hustle and bustle. Everything's 100 miles an hour. Everyone's so angry in this country. Yeah, like every day it's just all aggressive. Over there, it's just slow and chilled. And they're like, yeah, whatever, man. So yeah, I thought when I had the opportunity to do it, I was like, because obviously I went full time on YouTube. I did that in May last year. Obviously I used to do door-to-door sales before that, didn't I? So I saved up some dough, and I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. If I don't do it now, I'll probably never do it. So yeah, I thought as long as I've got Wi-Fi, I can work anywhere. And
so hold on, what happened to you being chilled then? Because you're still as controversial as ever.
About controversial. I'm not controversial. Yeah, I just say what I think, and I'm passionate about it. And at the end of the day, I always try to back what I say with logic, or to make you try and see outside of your own view. Yeah, if you don't agree with it, you don't agree with it. That's up to the individual watching it. But at the end of the day, I always try and construct my argument or my view with some level of logic or fact or stats behind it. But yeah, I do trigger a lot of people. I get that. I understand that. That's maybe sometimes I do go a little bit over the top, I must admit. But I have chilled recently. Since I moved. I chilled.
You know what? The videos triggered a lot of people. The titles triggered a lot of Tottenham fans, I think, tonight, because the title we talk about an embarrassing U-turn by Tottenham. I'm sorry, I make no apology for this. It's an embarrassing U-turn. Let's just bring people up to date with, of course, Tottenham were one of the first clubs to say that they're going to furlough all of their staff, taking advantage of the government scheme that pays up to 80% of wages, and then a club can top it up to 20%. Actually, Tottenham weren't even going to top up the 20%. They were just saying that they're going to furlough it, and then people got to take a 20% cut. It's been universally, they've had universal criticism. There's been other clubs. Tottenham ain't been the only club that have done it. Norwich did it. Liverpool, another club that did it. Newcastle have done it. Liverpool, last week, they've done a U-turn on it. They were getting heavily criticised by everybody in football, heavily criticised by their own fans. Tottenham are being heavily criticised by their own fans as well. We had expressions on there last week, and he was very angry about it. He's a hardcore Tottenham fan, but he was really upset that the club had gone and done that. There's been the Tottenham Trust that have been having a go at them as well. And now we see today that Tottenham have done a big U-turn on this whole thing. Let me just read out part of their statement. This is what they said. With no clarity on when football might resume and under what conditions, we shall continue to keep it under ongoing review. We're acutely aware that many supporters were against the decision we made regarding furloughing staff who could not carry out their jobs from home. This once again underlines that we bear different pressures to other businesses, many of whom have and will continue to apply for support from the scheme that the government intended, but they have decided that they are not going to furlough their staff, and it's really been down to the pressure that has been put on them by the world of football, and also massive pressure by their own fans who are really, really upset. Listen, I'm backing the Tottenham fans on that one. Yeah, I mean, they were right to have a go. The right thing that Tottenham have done here, or have they left it too late?
Well, they've got to the right decision, but it shouldn't have got to the point where they furloughed their staff. Same with Liverpool. I think Newcastle have done it. I think you said Norwich have done it. And there's other clubs that have done it.
Have done it.
Yeah, and this is the thing, like that scheme, that thing is set up not to help multi-billion-pound businesses. Yeah, it's set up to help. You know, it's not there to help a football club, is what I'm saying. Yeah, which is a massive organisation, a massive business, awash with money left, right, and centre. You know, it's there for, you know, the regular person. Yeah, in a regular job of a company that's not flush with money and has not got a massive revenue stream coming in. You know,
mind you could argue though. You could argue, right? Playing devil's advocate here, you could argue that a company like, I don't know, British Airways, or they're multi-billion-pound companies as well, and they're using the scheme. So, you know, maybe that's why some of the football clubs looked on it that way as well. Well, what's the difference?
Yeah, no, listen, I get that, right? But at the end of the day, we all know the money that flows around in football, Robbie. Yeah, from the Sky deal, from the BT Sport deal. You know, with social media now, you know the ins and outs of every deal before it even happens. You know, so we know how much the players earn, how much all the owners are getting, how much the club's earning every year. You know, we see all of that. So I think listen, I'm not going to sit here and completely destroy Tottenham, because at the end of the day, they're not the only club that have done it. Yes, they shouldn't have done it. Yeah, and I hope and pray, my fingers are crossed, Arsenal better not do it. Yeah, because I will have steam coming out of my ears.
Well, I don't think they would now. They'd be totally nuts to do it now, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it'd be a massive.
After they've seen the backlash that Tottenham have got, that Liverpool have got, you know what I mean? They'd be totally crazy to try and do that now.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, I know, like, when you look at it, like, both of them clubs, I'd imagine, I mean, Tottenham's revenue streams and income has gone above Arsenal's, I think, for the last 12 months. You know, I think they're sitting above us in terms of income. They've just moved into that massive new stadium. You know, I've seen loads of memes going around on social media, like they're using it so they can pay off the stadium and stuff. Like, I've seen so much funny stuff. But when you look at it and when you analyse it properly, yeah, they were stupid to do it in the first place. And the same with Liverpool. Liverpool made £40 million profit in the last calendar year. Yeah, or reportedly £40 million. So, you know, when you look at that, how can they then furlough their staff when they're announcing profits of 40 million quid? Yeah, that's just a little bit, I don't know, a bit muggy, isn't it?
It is. But talking of Arsenal, I mean, they haven't furloughed their staff, but they came out with this 5-point plan that they put out. And I don't know what you thought about that, because basically saying to the players that, listen, they want them to take a pay cut unless they get into the Champions League. If they get into the Champions League, they wouldn't have to do a pay cut. If they get into the Europa League, they'd want them to take a pay cut of 7.5. I think it was 7.5%. You know, or yeah. What do you think of that? What do you think? Do you think that's right, or do you think that's wrong as well? The owner of the club asking players to take a cut?
See, it's a hard one, right? Because I've said quite a bit on this in the last couple of days, right? That as a business, you've got to try and run in cost. Yeah, if your costs are not, if you're not running in cost, say your costs are 10% of your income, for example, but you're running at 30% of your income, yeah, eventually you're going to start chasing your backside a little bit, right? And all this has done is highlight, not just for Arsenal, by the way. I'll come on to the question you asked, and I'll answer that. I'm just going around the houses, so bear with me. But all this has done is highlight how poorly a lot of football clubs are run. Yeah, because, you know, we've just spoke about billionaire businesses or £billion businesses. And on one hand, you could say Stan Kroenke should get his checkbook out and pay all of the staff, right? Which, by the way, we haven't furloughed, right? So they're not getting paid. If I've understood that correctly, they're not getting paid. They're non-playing staff right now. Yeah.
Well, no, they are getting paid. They're still getting paid by Arsenal at the moment.
Right, so they're still getting paid. So Arsenal is losing money then, yeah? Because they're paying them, but they're not getting the money back in.
Right. So what they're asking the players to do now is they're saying, if this thing, you know, we're going to want you to take a pay cut so we can use some of that money.
I meant the non-playing staff, or the non-playing staff.
The non-playing staff have not been furloughed at Arsenal, right? So they're being paid. They're being paid at the moment,
okay,
right? But what they're asking the players to do is to take a pay cut unless they qualify for either the Champions League or the Europa League, to take a pay cut so that money can be used towards paying for those non-playing staff.
So there's two ways you could look at it then, because you could look at it and say, well, the amount of players that come out and say they love this football club, if they love it that much, they'll take a pay cut. Yeah. And you could look at it the opposite way and say, well, the guy who owns the company, the business, because that's what it is. It's a business, Arsenal Football Club. Should he get his cash out and say, there you go, I'm just going to pay all of the staff for the next 6 months? But then the problem...
I mean, we were talking about it on the show this morning, and for me personally, the first person who should be taking their money out is the owner. He should be looking to cover, because the players are employees as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Let's be real, right? So all of them are employees. They all work for Stan Kroenke, right? The club's in a bad situation at the moment. He has a decision to make. If he doesn't want to use the furlough, which obviously would be very embarrassing, as we've seen with Tottenham and Liverpool, then really and truly, if the money's not coming in, he has to fit that bill. Why is he asking players?
Yeah,
I mean, I noticed with Tottenham actually, and give a bit of credit. I'm going to give a bit of credit to Tottenham now. What they are actually saying is, they're gonna, like, the hierarchy are gonna take a pay cut to pay for the staff for the time being, which to me, that's how it should be. Shouldn't be asking players. I mean, you can ask. The players have already said that they're going to give money towards the NHS and stuff like that, and I'm sure the players would be up for deferring wages and stuff like that. But why should they take a pay cut if they are also staff?
Yeah, see, look, if everyone's a paid employee of the football club, which these footballers are, the guy who works in the armory, the guy who works in ticket office or whatever, they're all paid employees, right? So technically, yes, you should look at it and say, okay, cool. They're all getting paid at the moment. Maybe the owner should dip into his own pocket and put the money in to pay all of the non-playing staff, because the playing staff will get paid regardless, right? The problem you have with that is he'd have to do that in terms of some sort of loan, right? Which means we'd have to pay him back, right? So whilst that's great now and it's a good look on him now and everyone will be like, oh, yes, it's amazing. In 6 months' time, when he wants his money back and we're going into a transfer window and we can't go and do that extra 10, 12, 15 million quid on a player, everyone's going to be back to square one again with him. The flip side of that is the players could take a wage cut, of 10%, 12.5%, 7.5%, whatever it may be. And then that then covers the cost.
But the players don't own the club, Lee. It's not their club. You can say, the players say they love the club.
Yeah.
He says he loves the club as well. He owns it. It's his club. Yeah. So the onus is on him, not a loan. Get your hand in your pocket. We're in a bad situation
It'd have to be
and sort out the staff, right? Sort the staff out in the interim until things get back to normal. Why are you putting the pressure on the players? And don't get me wrong, it would be good if the players can contribute to it as well.
Yeah.
But for me, that is not down to the players. That is down to the person who owns the football club to make that decision. It shouldn't be that this document that came out, this 5-point document, strikes me as something that's been leaked.
Yeah.
To put pressure on the players for the players to fork out. He owns it. And he's worth more than all of the players put together. True. Why can't he put his hand in his pocket and say, right, I'm going to cover it? What dent would that make?
Yeah, but
for a couple of months.
Yeah, but then Robbie, it's an outside investment then, isn't it? So it would have to go down as a loan. You can't just go, oh, I'm just going to pay £20 million to pay everyone for the next 6 months. I'm just going to get my checkbook out and I'm going to pay everyone.
I'm covering it. It's my business. It's my business. I'm covering it for the next couple of months until we get back on our feet.
How does financial fair play work with that extra money that's being thrown in?
I don't think that would be a financial fair play issue because you're covering your backroom staff. It's not players.
Yeah, but they're being paid.
You're paying the guy. You're paying the guy in the ticket office. You're paying the people around the club. I don't think financial fair play is going to come into that because it's not the players he's subsidising and stuff like that. He's paying the backroom staff. Well, so for me, I don't know. I don't know what other people think of it here. There's this guy says you don't know the players' situation. You can't judge based on how much they make because you don't know their expenses. But I just think, regardless of their situation, their expenses, the first person I feel that should be putting their hand in their pocket is the owner.
Okay, so if the owner pulls out 20 million quid right now and says, right, don't worry, staff, we don't need to furlough you. They're being paid anyway. Yeah, they're being paid. Apparently they're being paid, all the non-playing staff. The players, forget them for now. The non-playing staff are being paid by the club. So if Stan Kroenke come out and said, there's £20 million, that secures the next 6 months' pay for all of the non-playing staff, right? There's no revenue coming in. In 6 months' time, we're pretty done out here because in 6 months' time, he's going to want that back because there's no way.
He shouldn't necessarily have to want that back. He might look on it and say, or he might defer that. He might say, you know what, I'll take that back in the future. That's what, to me, if you do love the club, you do. I mean, look at what just reading that.
The club, let's be real.
Reading that Tottenham statement again, right? They said, in their statement, they said that non-playing staff will receive 100% of their pay for April and May. Only board members will take salary reductions, right? That includes Daniel Levy, who obviously earned £7 million last year, but he's taking they're taking it. They're the ones taking the hit, right? So that's what I'm saying. Why are players? Why are players? Why is the pressure being put on them?
The reason the players are targeted is because they've got millions of people that adore them globally, right? They all come out with their PR games when it suits them. I mean, for example, the highest earner at this football club the other day, not him personally, but his agent was in the media doing an interview saying, I've advised all of my staff not to take a pay cut. Why?
Why should he?
Why would you come out as an agent? Listen, I know why he's come out as an agent, because obviously he probably gets paid a percentage off of all of it, right? I get that. And he's going to advise his staff not to take a pay cut. The fact is, they've got millions upon millions of people collectively between all of these footballers that adore them, idolize them, and see them as heroes, right? So surely, instead of all sitting there arguing over, oh, well, I don't want to pay 9%, I'll pay 4%, or I'll pay 3%. What's that all about? All this does, not only the owner, but the players as well, it shows that they're all greedy, right? And they don't...
But hold on, Lee. The players, I think every single Arsenal player have done that thing where they're all giving money to the NHS.
The Premier League players done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are they greedy?
Oh, come on, man. Like, listen, if you said to Mesut Ozil, 10% of your wages we're taking off you every single week, yeah, for the next 6 months. That pays 2 salaries every month.
How do you know he wouldn't do that? How do you know he wouldn't do that?
Has he come out and said he is?
No, but he's come out and said that he's giving money towards the NHS.
Yeah, which
and looking at Mesut Ozil's history,
yeah,
he looks like a guy that gives lots and lots of money to charity. He's always doing charitable things. Always.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So if you sat him down, huh?
Charity work, we all know, is a tax.
No, he always does charitable things. He's always giving away money. He's always giving away money to this hospital and that. He's done a lot.
Of course. Listen, you can't knock that. You can't.
So how can you call him greedy? You just said they're greedy. That's not greedy.
350 grand a week, and he's one of the players. Not just him, Aubameyang, Lacazette, and anybody else. Yeah, that are all sitting there arguing over what percentage of pay they should take, or what this and what that, or I don't want to do it. Why should I do it? Or
but why should it only be? What I'm saying is, why should the onuses should be on the regarding? I'm talking now about the staff at the club.
Yeah,
the staff. Yeah, the person who owns the business, the onus is on him to sort out the staff. That's your responsibility as the owner of the club. You got to sit down and you got to say, right, I can afford to sort out him. I might have to let him go. That's your decision. You're going to have to make that decision. Why are you asking players? Okay. Players can turn around and say, you know what? Wow, it's dire situation what's going on at the moment. Going to give some money to the NHS. He can call the players in and say, guys, listen, help me out here, man. Can you guys take a little cut so that we can pay?
You've done that with a 5-point plan.
No, but then when you're bringing out when you're leaking a 5-point plan, that's almost like you're telling people what you're going to do. Now that to me, if I was a player, I wouldn't like that, because I'm like, hold on a minute.
Oh, of course. Listen, at the end of the day, you signed a contract, you want to get paid the money. I completely understand that, right? But on the flip side of that, when you're running a business and your top earners are all over, 30 grand a week, 40 grand a week, 50 grand a week upwards, and then you've got the little guy, the little guy behind the scenes is on 1,800 quid a month. Come on, man. Where are you going to try and take the cuts from? Yeah, if you're running a business, you're going to try and chop from the top down. The top down is the top earners down.
But don't you think, though, when you run a business, Lee, that sometimes you, the person who run the business, you're going to have to take the hit sometimes. When things hit the fan, it drops on you. You know what I mean? You enjoy the good times. When profits being made and money's rolling in, you're enjoying those times. You're taking money out and stuff like that, and it's great. When it's not like now, why are you looking at players? That's what to me. Listen, you know, I mean, this.
I'm just getting. Go on, mate. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, let me just get this comment before I come back to you. Peter says these bosses need to dig deep in their pockets and help out their clubs. They milk these clubs over and over. It's time to send a helping hand because the situation is critical now. Greedy bosses.
It is, and that's what I just said 5 minutes ago. All this is done. This whole scenario for the last 6 weeks is show that everyone's pretty greedy right now, and everyone's looking out for number one, which is fair enough. Listen, you can't knock any of them players for not taking a pay cut, but at the end of the day, for me personally, my opinion on it is they should take a pay cut. They're getting paid an absolute fortune. Why can't they help keep the running of that football club going? Because then in 10 years' time, every single one of us will sit here and go, do you remember 10 years ago when the club was like a little bit struggling a little bit to pay its staff and stuff like that, and he helped and he helped and he helped and he helped? Instead, all we're doing is sitting there arguing over, well, hang on, he ain't paying, he ain't paying, he ain't paying. Do you know what I mean?
There's a comment here. Extra says apparently United are planning to activate Upamecano's release clause. I mean, can you see any of those sort of players coming in this summer with the limited budget that it looks like we're going to have?
Well, this is the thing. If our owner dug into his pockets and took out some extra cash and sponsored the training ground, for example, for 300 million quid, then maybe we'd be able to buy up Upamecano and players like that. But listen, we know the situation we're in terms of transfers. You know, I don't see us going out there spending an absolute fortune. Mikel Arteta the other day has said, I think it was to Sky he was talking to, he said that they've planned for 3 different scenarios. One of them includes buying no one.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know when football's coming back. We don't know when the transfer window is officially open. One thing I do know is that we're going to appreciate football a hell of a lot more when we do get back. Yeah, and the players will appreciate us as fans a little bit more, I think. But not only that, this has highlighted how poorly run so many football clubs are, right? And overspending, yeah, like excessive overspending. Yeah, and I used an example the other day. I upset a few Bournemouth fans by doing it. Bournemouth spent 19 million quid on Dominic Solanke. If they get relegated, they're done. Yeah, they're done. Like, they've survived in this Premier League on 13,000 on the gate every week. That's it. They wouldn't survive if they got relegated. So how have they?
Well, they haven't just survived. Obviously, the TV money.
Oh no, of course. I mean, if they got relegated and you took that TV money away, they're done.
Yeah,
they're done.
Yeah, well, they do. When these clubs go down, they have these parachute payments at first to kind of soften the blow of them going down. But yeah, listen, you can see that's why these clubs, when they're in trouble of going down, are quick to change their managers, because it can be fatal. You know what I mean? It can mean that your club never gets back to them sort of stages again.
The thing is, like, there is certain clubs out there that run properly. Leicester, for example. Yeah, Leicester are run watertight. They won a league title. They've overhauled the whole squad, apart from 3 of that title-winning squad, and they spent less on that whole overhaul than we did last summer.
True. VJ says players have worked their whole lives to earn the money they deserve. Also, nobody goes to the stadium to say hi
to Greg the
Steward. That's a bit harsh. The stewards do an important job, mate. Syed says, morally, it is right to take a pay cut. But remember, you see the person's true character when we face a crisis.
Great comment. Great comment. And this is what I just said a minute ago. Like, the owner, you've seen where he lies with it now. And we're seeing players, not just at Arsenal, but all over the world, arguing over pay cuts. I will say this here. Barcelona and Bayern Munich both took 70% pay cuts. Both clubs, 70%, not 7%, 70%. Yeah, it took Barcelona quite a while to get to that because they were all arguing over it. But 70%, Robbie, they have taken as pay cuts, them players. Think how much money them players are on. They're on more than we're on.
Are they full pay cuts or are they deferrals? Because I've heard that they're sort of which are deferral. Remember, deferral is a different thing. It still means you're going to get your money at a later stage.
And yeah, but either way, they've agreed to take 70%.
Yeah, but a deferral is different. A deferral, when money's deferred, you're getting your money. You're just not getting it now, but you're going to get your money. That's a bit different to saying to somebody that, listen, you take a 30% pay cut unless you're getting the Champions League. That's a bit different, isn't it?
They're always Champions League.
Stephen says Kroenke is tied up in too many business projects where costs will soar in these times. Kroenke may only sell Arsenal players to preserve his American dream. Of course, he's got that stadium that he's building over there for the LA Rams, the most expensive stadium in the world. I mean, this is it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens with this whole thing. Would Stan Kroenke end up selling Arsenal because he'd been such problems with, financial problems because he's got so much money?
This is the thing, right? Like, he's got so many businesses that are all making money that he's not having to spend out his own money, is he? Listen, when people say he's got £8 billion, he hasn't. If you go to his bank account with him, he ain't got £8 billion in it. He's got £8 billion in assets. Yeah, that's what he's got. £8 billion. You can then go and get loans because of that, right? And then you can pay them loans back. But will he sell Arsenal? Do you know what? I don't think he will, because I think that he brought it on the basis that there's potentially going to be a Super League, which is going to be ridiculous money, and because we've
say that again, there'd be what?
A Super League.
And there'd be what?
Go on, what did I say?
Ridiculous what? Ridiculous money.
Ridiculous money, yeah.
He's willing to earn the money. He's willing to earn the ridiculous money, but when now there's a crisis, like that guy said, when the crisis comes now.
You do know our wage bill is the 4th highest in the Premier League, right?
Yeah, I know. We do have a ridiculously high wage bill.
Yeah,
but so he's not paying for it, is he? The club pays for it. He doesn't really put his hand into his own pocket, does he, to do anything?
No, but neither does the owner at Leicester. And they're third, and they've won a title, and they've overhauled their whole squad for 140 million quid. So they can run self-sufficiently quite fine.
They've been buying much better than buying and selling better than us. Claude's coming.
You joker, Claude.
Claude's coming. Now I had Claude on here on Saturday, and he told me this one. That is this true that you said Cantwell at Norwich is better than Griezmann?
No. Claude, you joker.
That's what Claude said.
No, do you know what? I don't rate Griezmann, right? I don't rate him. Listen, right?
You don't rate Griezmann?
No, I don't rate him.
World Cup winner.
So's Giroud.
No, come on. He was one of France's most important players in that World Cup win. You don't rate him?
Nope.
Why?
140 million, 120 million he went for.
He was putting figures on things, man. Get the money now. Why don't you rate Griezmann? Tell me why you don't rate him.
He's not worth the money for a start, right? He obviously ain't doing it at Barcelona, hence why they want to bin him off again straight away, real quick, like they've done or doing with Coutinho, like they're doing with Ousmane Dembele, like they've done with Ibrahimovic and other players over the years. Now, listen, Ibra, I do rate, by the way. I was just throwing him in there as a big money move that they're going to bin off, right? But I look at his goals output, I look at what he brings to the team, and he ain't. Listen, at Atletico Madrid, he was brilliant. He was the top boy, but they set up defensively sound and put a platform behind him defensively for him to be on that counter attack and be. When we played him at the Emirates and Koscielny let him score at the end, they did nothing that day, but the team was set up for him to go bang on a counter attack. At Barcelona, you can't do that. You have to attack. And how many goals?
Hold on, wait a minute. France are not a counter attacking teim. France always on the front foot. He's the main man. He's the main man at France.
Pogba is, Mbappe is.
Him and Pogba are the main men in that French national team. And you're telling me that you don't rate you rated? Is that Cantwell thing? You rated Cantwell?
No. I call Griezmann the B-Tech Cantwell. It's banter. When I'm playing FIFA, I call him the B-Tech. But no, listen. In terms of having no way do I want him at Arsenal? Yeah,
why not?
He's 29 years old. It cost an absolute fortune to buy him, an absolute fortune to pay him. And what incentives he got?
Yeah, obviously it would cost a fortune. Yeah. But there's a reason why it's cost a fortune, because he's a top player.
No, it's because they paid a fortune for him.
He hasn't had a great season at Barca. He's not the first player. When you go there, basically, if you look at it, right, which I couldn't understand why Barcelona bought him. Right, because he plays in the same position as Messi.
Yep.
So he's always going to be a problem for him going there, because he's not really playing in the position where he used to hurt teams when he's playing for France, when he's playing for Atletico Madrid. But I'm telling you, if he was, I'm not saying Arsenal should get him, because you're right, the age is starting to go against him and the amount of money he's cost, right? But he's been one of the top players in Europe for years, right? And if he came to Arsenal, he would definitely do big things for us. He's on another level to the type of players that we've got.
You seriously believe if he comes to Arsenal?
If he played in the number 10 position where Mesut Ozil's playing right now, he would score so many goals for Arsenal.
Oh yeah, listen, I'll put you at number 10 over Ozil, mate. Let's not get twisted here, yeah. I'll put you at number 10 over Mesut Ozil, but Griezmann, no.
Okay.
I'd rather take other players for a third of the money that would have a better output in the Premier League than Griezmann and would last longer.
I think Griezmann would be brilliant. Prodigy says, as a United fan, I think Arsenal going down the same road as we did post Fergie. No transfer strategy, trying to sign any big name, no long-term planning. We've only just sorted out ours, and we worry for you. Actually, I slightly disagree with that. I think you can look at players like Martinelli, Guendouzi. These are players that they're buying and they're putting faith in that in the future they're going to come good. Well, I don't know what you think.
I agree with him, actually. Listen, they've got some good players. They've bought Dan James. They've got Greenwood coming. They've got McTominay in their team. And then they've got the big names with Pogba and Martial and players like that. They've spent 80 million on Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka. And it's sad to see Arsenal and Man United both nowhere near the title when we used to fight for the title. Yeah, and I just look at it and I just think we're kind of similar. We're both owned by an American owner. They both genuinely don't really care. I mean, their owner put them in a load of debt to buy the club. Yeah, their CEO is just a bank manager. He ain't a CEO. Yeah. It's kind of sad, but I agree with him. I think we're both miles away from where we expect to be, and I don't see it changing anytime soon because it's always about the quick fix. Yeah, whereas you look at other clubs, they've built something. Look at Liverpool. They've Liverpool, by the way, right? Because I watched your show this morning, and I see a lot of people in the comments saying, "Oh, but about this team and that team." Right? Liverpool have spent £27 million gross more than Arsenal in the last 5 years. Yeah, that's one player. That's Sadio Mane. Yeah.
That's because they've been sensible with they've all. You see, the problem that Arsenal have had, right, is that they have bought players. Then those players have no value. Some of the signings that we've made, especially the Wenger ones, towards the end of the Wenger era, they were very poor. You know what I mean? Whereas in their case, and this guy asked, would you take Coutinho? But they sold Coutinho for mega money, right? And they were then able to buy Van Dijk and buy Alisson. You know what I mean? So that there's policy of when they sell players, they get lots of money in, and then they're able to buy players. Whereas with us, we'd be buying players and we get next to nothing for them.
So you mean like Griezmann? If we bought him, we'd have no resale value, yeah?
Yeah, I guess with his age, but I'm not on buying him. I'm just saying that I rate Griezmann. I really do. Blind Gooner says, hey guys, if the season is void, do you think season ticket holders should get their money back or lose it so it can go to the NHS? I just don't think the season's going to be. I mean, what would they do with season ticket holders? They would have to refund them back their money.
Yeah, sure. Or the next season.
The games wouldn't have taken place. They would have to refund it.
Yeah, or they could take it off the next season.
I suppose you could say to a fan, "Do you want to let that money be donated to the NHS?" But I think there's be a lot of fans out there who'd be like, "I want my money back," because things are going to be hard for them as well. As well, on this morning's show, we were talking about Arsenal's worst ever signings. And I was going through the comments. Let me just read. Right, and there's been quite a few because it was all sort of based off of the Kim Kallstrom story. And I don't know if you saw that Kim Kallstrom done an interview, and he was sort of, not really having a dig at Arsenal supporters, but saying that, listen, I might not have been there for long, and I might have been injured, but I did make a major impact with that penalty that I scored. It helped to get us a trophy. But the 5 worst players that came out from what people were saying, and I don't know if you will back these, were Takuma Asano. Remember him?
Who?
He went off on loan to Stuttgart and we never saw him again. Igor Stefanos.
Jesus Christ.
Terrible defender. Sebastian Schillaci. He was poor. Dennis Suarez. And Park Ju-young. That's the one I can also never figure out, that Park Ju-young one.
I wouldn't have Dennis Suarez.
Logo in there as well.
I wouldn't put Suarez in there.
You wouldn't put Dennis Suarez in there?
Yaya Sanogo.
Yeah. Yaya Sanogo's definitely got to be in there.
Yeah, Yaya Sanogo. Mesut Ozil.
Funny enough, there's this guy is agreeing with that. He said,
I could actually genuinely sit here and make a case for him being our worst ever signing, right? Yeah, from day one to day dot, from the day we signed him to the day he leaves next year, 153 million quid he's cost us. Has he been worth it? I'll leave that to the chat rather than. He's not lived up to all of what he should have lived up to.
but I think he's had good years. He's not. In no way has he been our worst signing. He's had some good years at Arsenal.
I knew I'd wind you up.
You know, you're being serious though. I know you.
No, do you know what? Real talk. Honestly, right? Listen, he ain't our worst signing. I ain't stupid enough to sit here and say it's our worst signing. But in terms of actual figures, in terms of money, yeah, actual how much he's cost from start to finish, you got to say that that's absolutely crazy. And yes, the others were peanuts that we bought him for and did nothing for us. Yeah, you know, you could make a case of players. You could do another 5, yeah, of players that have cost us a fortune and done nothing, and he'd be top of it. Yeah, so yeah, man.
This guy, CM Punk says, and Andre Santos, left back. But mind you, he did score that goal at Chelsea that time. So I don't know if he'd be the worst, but Abdiel says Denis Suarez. Why are you not putting Denis Suarez in that category?
I wouldn't put him there.
Francis Jeffers, that was another bad one. It didn't work out for him. Why not on Denis Suarez? What did he do?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily blame him. I blame the people who got him in. They knew he was injured before he brought him in. I know they did with Kim Kallstrom. Yeah, and Kim Kallstrom scored the penalty. I get that. But Denis Suarez had no chance. He was injured before he came in. Yeah, and Emery played him knowing he was injured. What do we expect him to do? You know, what do you expect him to do? That's like, you know, you're trying to ride a bicycle, yeah, with flippers on. Yeah, it's just never going to happen, is it? Let's be real here.
Lichtsteiner?
Nah, I wouldn't put him in. I remember his first game. He came on against Man City for Maitland-Niles, and he kicked Mahrez about 3 foot up in the air. First thing he done for the club.
Like the only thing he did for the club. The Takana, the Asano one's coming up a lot because basically he didn't even play for Arsenal, did he?
No, just getting loaned out. There's loads, man. There's loads. There's so many.
Rio Miyachi, that's another one. That's another one. There's people putting Debuchy. No, I don't know, man. I thought Debuchy should have had more of a chance.
Yeah, he was good when he came, and he didn't really get a chance, did he? Eventually, he had to go. Almunia is in there. That could be a shout.
Kelechi Enwakali from Nigeria. Again, he never got to play for Arsenal, did he?
No.
Just out on loan all the time. Never got to play. Not Diaby. Diaby was just injured all the time. He was quality, wasn't he?
Yeah, somebody said this to me the other day on a stream I did, right? They said, who's the closest player you've seen to Vieira? I said, well, for Arsenal, it's Diaby. Yeah, if Diaby had stayed fit, that geezer would have been unbelievable.
He would have been quality.
I wouldn't say he would have been Vieira level, but he would have been brilliant. This
is quite a controversial one. Mavropanos.
Actually, that's a
really
shout.
done anything, has he?
No, that's a shout. Apart from getting red card, he got red card and injured every time he plays, isn't it?
You know what? A lot of them are coming up. I even forgot about some of these. Colin Bramall. Again, did he even play a game? I mean, I think he played probably
League Cup, maybe
a League Cup game. Bischoff. That was another one. John Jensen.
Nah, he was all right. John Jensen. He'd walk into our midfield and be our best midfielder now.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, man. Shamak started off all right.
No. Shamak, right? Shamak.
He started off all right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still a Champions League record, but he scored in 6 straight Champions League games. Not even Messi.
He started well. Shyam says a prime Coutinho, a prime Ozil, or a prime De Bruyne.
As Ozil had a prime. No. Question, is it? No, De Bruyne all day long. I don't rate Coutinho. Don't rate Coutinho.
Why don't you rate Coutinho? I think Coutinho. I look at Coutinho and I think he could do a job at Arsenal because he's a goal-scoring midfielder, and that's what we lack at the moment. We don't score enough goals from midfield. You don't think he would bring something to that midfield?
No. All he is, right? And same with James Rodriguez. Players like that, we don't need a luxury player. We need hard-working players like Jordan Henderson in midfield. Yeah, he's massively underrated, that Jordan Henderson. We need players like that, not players like Coutinho or Ozil or players like that.
Limpar or Lundberg?
Limpar. It's a tough one, though. But Limpar.
Lundberg had more of an impact. Faisal saying we need Mkhitaryan back. I don't think so. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I've heard we need a T-boy. Huh? I've heard we need a T-boy.
Someone's put Xhaka as their worst signing. I mean, he has turned things around a bit, Xhaka, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's only gone back to the level he was when we first signed him, which wasn't good enough anyway.
So for you,
I wouldn't put him in the worst signings, but
would you be moving him out this summer?
100%, all day long.
But it does look like Arteta likes him.
Mate, Arteta begged Mustafi to stay as well. You know,
but Mustafi as well, another player that's really upped his game.
No, to be honest, Mustafi's been our best centre back this season, in my opinion. Xhaka, from the minute he threw that armband on the floor, and sort of when he come back from that minute on, he's been decent, but he still ain't good enough. He's not going to take us to where we want to be. So no, I'd get rid.
El Nini.
Oh, Jesus Christ, is he still at Arsenal?
He's out on loan at the moment, but yeah, another player that will be coming back come the end of the loan.
No, we've got to get rid. Just get rid.
Julio Baptista. Baptista scored a couple. He didn't really hit it off. He did score a couple of good goals for us.
Yeah, he was a good player.
Yeah. Aubameyang. Haven't asked you about that yet. Would you cash in on him?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. And I'll tell you why. 6th of January, we played Leeds United. In the programme notes that night, as the captain, he said that he doesn't listen to speculation, it does his head in. We're now sat here on the 13th of April and he still ain't signed a contract. See ya. Thanks, mate. Love him to bits. Yeah, unbelievable movement. For me, he's got the best movement in the Premier League for a striker. Yeah, but where do we go with this? Do we go into last year territory again? Like the last year of a contract? We've done it with Ramsey and let him walk out for nothing. We've done it with Alexis and swapped him for somebody who ain't even at the club anymore. He's on loan. Yeah, and we've done it with Ozil, which we gave a ridiculously huge contract to. We've got to sit there and listen. If this club back their talk, Ralston Haley and Vinay, I'm not going to pronounce his surname, but them two sat there and told the world that any player in the last 2 years of their contract that hasn't signed a new deal, we're selling them. Well, he's got a year left in the summer. So is Ozil, yeah. So is David Luiz. So is Mustafi. So is Socrates. So is Saka. Well, they need to put up or shut up, because at the end of the day, he is our top goal scorer. He's the top goal scorer in the league since he arrived. I think only Mohamed Salah's joined with him. We've already seen this story before, mate, and it ends with the player leaving for next time, I think. So
I've sort of had a theory, and I don't know this for facts, but I've just had a bit of a theory on this right from sort of the start of this, is that I've not really heard the club come out and say, right, we put a contract on the table for him. They did that with other players. They've said that. So with Sanchez, they kind of publicly sneaked it out there that we were offering Sanchez a deal. With Van Persie, it was like, we're offering Van Persie. We want him to stay. We're offering him this. They're very quiet on this one. I just get the feeling that is it that they want Aubameyang to go because they want to get the money in. That is my gut feeling on this. I reckon it's more. It's all right for us to say. It's all right for us to say Aubameyang, but I just get the feeling it could be them.
Yeah. Do you remember? I think it was about a year ago. There was apparently contract offers for Lacazette and Aubameyang. When Emery first came in, it just gone over into the new year in January.
And we ended nothing since, have we?
We ended nothing. Yeah, apart from
obviously we're not privy to what's going on, but I just get the feeling that maybe the club are in no hurry themselves. You know what I mean? Because they're thinking to them, especially with what's going on now.
Maybe they're waiting to get rid of some of the other players first to free up wages to then pay. Maybe they'll get rid of Mesut Ozil or Lacazette first, or Mustafi or a Xhaka, somebody who's on quite high wages, to then go, right, now we can give you that big deal. But because listen, if Ozil doesn't go, for example, and Aubameyang takes, say, 300 a week, can we afford to do that, really? When we've then got Lacazette, we
need to only if we offloaded a load, 3-4 players, and that's why I get the feeling it's possibly the club. DVS Dallas says, still a project club. Nothing's changed since 2007.
That's brilliant, isn't it? We shouldn't laugh, but
Sergio says, sell Aubameyang all day long. We should be playing Martinelli. What is Aubameyang on? Martinelli is, he's done brilliantly, but I just a little bit worried that we're heaping a bit too much pressure on him. He's a young kid. We've got to give him a bit of time to develop.
See, the thing is, it's a bit of a weird one, right? Because we brought Eddie and Nketiah back off loan, which I just thought was a weird thing to do. And you've got Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Martinelli already there. So I was like, why would we bring Eddie back? Maybe we've brought Eddie back with the view that either Aubameyang or Laka are going in the summer, to give Eddie some playing time to get him up to speed in the Premier League for the next season. And then obviously Martinelli could then play back up to Lacazette, for example, or vice versa. I don't know. Listen, the club's been a mess for a long time, mate. And until we get what we should be doing is going out there and getting the recruitment staff that run Leicester. That's what we should be doing. Yeah, they seem to be finding gems left, right, and centre, and then sell them on for big dough. So maybe we should go.
Well, I think one of the things we're going to have to do is remember this recruitment team that's here now. They ain't been here long, and you have to look on it and say they've made a couple of good signings. That already those signings have got value to them. Guendouzi's got value to him. Martinelli, if they sell Martinelli tomorrow, they make a huge profit. So it does seem like they are starting to get it right with the recruitment. And then, they're still supplementing that. If you notice, when instead of going and spending big money on established players, which they obviously haven't had, they've been getting loan deals. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we have to, with this new regime, we've got to be a little bit more patient with the old regime. So, as you can see by some of the comments that have been coming in from people, some of the signings have been appalling. And like you said, we'll sign players. And then when we sign players now, they're not worth anything. If we want to sell them on, they're worth, they're either too old or they're just no good.
And the problem we've had as well is obviously Gazidis ain't here anymore. But the problem we've had is that old regime overpaid for bang average players. When you look at Van Dijk, we signed Gabriel Paulista the same season for the same money, exactly the same money from when Van Dijk went to Southampton from Celtic. Same money. Yeah, we bought Paulista. Listen, Paulista weren't bad, but he weren't Van Dijk even then.
Yeah. And the Van Dijk thing was, when Van Dijk moved from Celtic to Southampton, it wasn't like it was a secret that he was a lot of people knew Venny was a very, very. I remember we used to be talking about him in Transfer Daily all the time, and we didn't sign him. And we used to sign a lot of players under Gazidis based off of this computer system that they had.
Did you know Arsenal owned that company?
Yeah. They own that company. Were they based in Bangladesh or something like that?
Somewhere
or Vietnam or something like that, right?
Yeah,
and just
they own interest in that anyway, haven't they? Because they own that business, so they're going to use that over paying scout.
CO is saying that Eddie was called back because he wasn't playing enough at Leeds, even though he was banging in the goals, and he wasn't getting enough game time at Leeds. Bakri says Saliba is a good signing. What do you think of Saliba?
William Van Dijk. That's how we're building him up. That's how we're building him up. A bit like Pablo Van Dijk at centre back, Pablo Marie. We're so desperate for a centre back that's actually any good that it doesn't matter who you are anymore. Just put Van Dijk at the end of their name. I've seen so many people bigging up this William Saliba, and from the clips I've seen of him, buckle up. Yeah, because he ain't the all singing, all dancing centre back. You think
he holds on. I mean, they shouldn't be over bigging him up, but he's only young.
No, which is why they need to be over bigging him up. But like I said, we're so desperate as fans for a decent centre back. I see a clip on Twitter about 7-8 weeks ago. Some of the back passes that he done to the goalkeeper, Jesus Christ, mate. Yeah, if he does that in the Premier League and Salah's running on to try and close the keeper down, he's rounding Leno and scoring. Yeah, so we just.
He is very highly rated in France, though. They do rate him very highly. Listen,
from what you see of him, he's got the size. He's a big physical guy. Yeah, and he can play out from the back and he looks comfortable. But this is the Premier League, and it's swallowed up bigger and better names than William van Dijk.
William van Dijk, you see what that guy there says? As the 22 says, we can't sell Aubameyang. Who would we replace him with?
Who would we replace him with? I'd love Timo Werner, but he ain't ever coming to us.
Come on, mate.
He ain't ever coming to us.
Timo Werner must be about every club in Europe that's in the Champions League that wants him. Clubs with more money than Arsenal. If we sell Aubameyang, we're not going to get Timo Werner.
No, I know that.
We're going to get
no.
I'd more see like someone like that Edouard, which they've been talking about, the guy from Celtic.
Yeah, he's decent. He's all right. So is that Dembele at Lyon. Yeah, Dembele at Lyon's decent as well. And
but Dembele at Lyon would probably cost more than Aubameyang.
He probably would. Yeah,
because he's a young player. Does it make sense to? I mean, unless you're bringing him better, but how are we going to bring him better?
That's the problem, and that's why you've got to hope that Martinelli is not a one-season wonder. Yeah, because I don't think he is. I think he's going to be unbelievable. But then the problem you've got with that is we're going to have the same problem in a year or two's time if he kicks on even more, because then it's going to be him running down his contract. It's just, where does this end?
We've got to get to a stage where we're a club that keeps hold of our players, isn't it? That is the key. We've got to get to the stage where Arsenal becomes that attractive club again. And I wonder to myself if we will be in that place under this owner.
Well, this is what I was saying to you earlier about Leicester. Yeah, and I'm going to use them and Liverpool as an example here, right? Liverpool have spent 27 million quid more than Arsenal. That's gross. That's not net. That is gross, right? That's before they've sold Coutinho and players like that, yeah? Last 5 years, since 2015 to now, they've spent 27 million quid more than us. That equates to Sadio Mane. Yeah, so take him out the team, we're exactly the same on spend, right? Then you look at Leicester, they've won a league title, overhauled all bar 3 players of that squad, and they spent 140 million quid, and they're third. And they spent 140 million quid in overhauling that whole team, and they're third. So when people say self-sufficiency can't work, well, it can. Them two clubs are proving that. Yeah, the problem is our recruitment has set us back so far that we ain't going to see if it's going to work for us for another 4 or 5 seasons. Yeah, so then we're expecting everyone to throw money at it, which is great, but he ain't going to throw money at it. So all we're doing is just going to get ourselves wound up by saying, oh, he's got to give us money, he's got to do this, he's got to...
Yeah, but part of that, I'm going to come back to this. This guy says, do you feel that due to the current state we're in, will we have to sell our players at a lower price tag of the hit? I don't understand what he says there, but of the clubs, the hit that the clubs have taken recently, we will see any deals worth more than 100 million. I think I've been saying it all week. You know what I mean? The transfer market is going to be as low as you've ever seen it. The big money signings just ain't going to happen. I can't see any of those happening. The big clubs in Spain and Italy, they're all taking a huge hit from this. So don't look for no mega signings. But going back to your self-sufficiency thing that you're talking about there, Lee. Self-sufficiency is also about holding on to your best players, right? Convincing your best players to stay, keeping hold of it. So one of the most important parts of the cog in that Leicester team, for instance, is Vardy, right? And they've held on to him. And why over the years our self-sufficiency model hasn't worked? It hasn't just been the signings that we've made that ain't been good enough, but it's the fact that anytime we do make a good signing, we never hold on to them. Alexis, Van Persie, all these guys, you know what I mean? We can never keep them. So That's been part of the massive problem.
See, I kind of agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, Leicester lost Mahrez, Kante, Maguire. Yeah, they've lost their whole squad apart from Vardy, Schmeichel, and Wes Morgan. I think they're the only three left from their title-winning team. Yeah. Now, fast forward, look at the squad they've got now. They're still better than us. You know, and they've only
although you can look on it and say that, you know, for a few seasons as well, they've been in the doldrums as well. You know what I mean, and sacking managers and things like that.
Ninth, I think, last season, which is where we are. Funny enough.
Yeah. DDS Dallas says, "No way on God's green earth are we spending large." And Faisal says, "If somebody has to go, Laka has to go." I wouldn't want to lose Lacazette either.
I wouldn't mind if he went, mate. I'd be quite happy if he went, to be honest. I think he's gone from being player of the season, quite comfortably our player of the season, to rubbish player of the season. What's happened to him?
He hasn't been rubbish.
He has 100%.
He hasn't been rubbish. He's not had the season he had last year. He's not had a great season. He had some injuries. It's not been, you know, but he was starting to pick up before this whole coronavirus thing started. And despite his lack of goals, he's still been putting the work rate in there. He's still been working for the team. I like players of that caliber.
You know, he didn't score an away goal for a whole year, didn't you?
Yeah, I know that. But I'm saying I like players of that caliber. I mean,
but come on, Robbie, work rate should be a given. You're on $100,000 a week.
Yeah, everybody says that, but it ain't.
No,
Sergio says that Lacazette can't strike in brothels, let alone in the league. I think this is sometimes typical of fans, right? Is that the guy's having a bit of a tough time at the moment, and all of a sudden now, like you said, he's gone from being player of the season to just get rid of him. Oh, come on.
Yeah, but that's how big football clubs act. They're ruthless. Coutinho.
But sometimes you've got to allow a player to come through a bit of a bad patch, and he could come back next season and be our player of the season again.
Yeah, but he could not as well. And then we've kept
him. Well, I don't know. I think it's too early to just say, oh, he's crap.
I'll give an example.
Last season, player of the season, now he's crap. Get rid of him.
Okay.
Let's get Timo Werner. He might come in and be crap.
Didn't Jose Mourinho sell his player of the season, Mata? 2 seasons in a row, he was player of the season. He sold him to Man United. And guess what? Won the league the next season.
That's one example, but there's many examples.
Griezmann's gone to Barcelona. They want to bin him already. Usman Dembele, they want to bin him already.
No, as I said, with the Griezmann thing, the guy is not playing in the position that he played in when he was at Atletico Madrid. And I think that's what's having a big effect on it. Maybe Pepe could play up front. He did it at Lille, says Elliot. That's a possibility. You could possibly look to switch him there. What have you made of Pepe?
I rate him, which might surprise a few people because I do actually.
Blind Gunnar says we always lose our best players because of our lack of ambition, and that's what I'm saying. I agree with him there. You know what I mean? Until it's all right about self-sustaining and stuff like that, but until you keep hold of those best players, you know, you're not going to succeed. Jesus is better than Laka, and he is a bench player. Jesus, I think he's talking about. Jesus is a very good player. He's a very good player. But Lacazette, I don't like this with fans. You know, the guy was brilliant last season. This season, I wouldn't say he's been rubbish, right? And as I said, it's all right for you to say, yeah, hard work's a given, but it ain't. You see a lot of players, their heads just drop and they do nothing.
Robbie,
this guy's still been creating assists. He's still been trying his, you know what I mean? I like that attitude.
Robbie,
I don't want to be selling players with that attitude.
If Olivier Giroud went a whole year without an away goal, people would want him lynched. But because it's Lacazette, it's all right.
No, because Lacazette, he scored goals. How many goals has he scored this season? I'm not sure.
Let's have a look.
How many?
Yeah, this season he's been a whole year without a goal away from home.
Samim says, would you sell Aubameyang to get a better defence or sack Arteta and be in the same conversation as Liverpool and City? Sack Arteta?
See, this is the thing with Liverpool as well. That's a bloody good question, yeah? Right. That's what Liverpool did. They got rid of their best player, Coutinho, and went and bought a goalkeeper and a defender. Now look at them. And sometimes you have to do that, and sometimes you have to move on Aubameyang or a Laka. Even though I don't want Aubameyang to go, we're going to have to sell him, because he ain't signing a deal. Lacazette this season, 9 goals, 3 assists, 26 games.
That's not awful, is it?
But it's not ruthless either, is it?
Hold on, wait a minute, right? You said he's had a terrible season. 9 goals in 22 games. That ain't awful, is it?
Well, it's not 50 million.
Is it awful?
Come on, man! Like if
last season player of the year, he's having a bad season. He's having a dip, right? But as I said, still works his socks off. Has scored 9 goals. Yeah,
7 of them.
Who's below him in the goal scoring? Name us a couple of players.
7 of them are in the league, so he's got 7.
Name us a couple of players below him in that 9.
What do you mean?
So name a couple of the other players on 9 goals.
What, in the league?
Have you got it? Have you only just got his stat? Have you got...
He's got 7 league goals this season. Yeah, there's other players from other clubs that have not got better players around them that have scored more goals.
And there's other players in other clubs that have got better players around them and scored less goals. You know.
Yeah, we're talking about Lacazette, 9 goals in 27 games.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't understand why people are writing him off like the guy's crap. You know what I mean? You know, I'm just trying to find the goal scorers there. Laka is a CAM playing up front.
Martinelli scored more goals than him this season, and he's 18 years old in a new country.
But how many is not in the league, though, is it? Obviously, Martinelli's had a brilliant season. For his first season, he's been exceptional. But he could next season. You know, the goals could dry up a bit. I think we've got to give... I wouldn't be just binning off Lacazette like that. He's saying that a player like Lacazette should get at least 15 goals. How do you know he won't? The season ain't finished yet, and as I said, in his last 3-4 games, he's scored in nearly every game, isn't it?
Yeah, he did. To be fair, yeah, he did.
So how do we know he wouldn't? How do we know he wouldn't have finished with 20? Huh?
I started calling him Laka Fret, and he started scoring again.
So rubbish that clubs like Atletico want him.
Yeah, but Atletico wanted him before he came to Arsenal.
No, but so rubbish that Atletico want him. It's not no little...
Atletico got Morata up front. Yeah, and he's pony.
Huh?
Atletico got Morata up front, and he's crap.
Scored a big goal against Liverpool, though.
They got Trippier at right back. Would you take Trippier at right back over Bellerin?
Ooh. No.
There you go.
Trippier's done well at Atletico.
Yes, no, yes.
I'd say well. That's what I'm saying. Winfrey said Firmino didn't score a home goal for a year.
And then he scored, and then Arsenal rocked up and he scored that trick.
He scored a goal for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, but listen, the difference is that whole team is not built around Firmino scoring goals. It's built about them 2 wingers scoring goals. Not
Fowler said, Robbie, Laka has been rubbish. Don't try sticking up for... Rubbish. 9 goals. And the season's not over yet. Mr. Bob says Laka has underperformed this season, but his playing style is more akin to Firmino than an out-and-out scorer. And I agree with that. And thank you. That is what I'd say is a sensible. He's underperformed so far this season. Remember, the season ain't over either. He could go on a little streak and end up with that 15 to 20 goals that we're talking about. You know what I mean? So I just don't want to see us. Again, we're looking to sell our best players.
Okay, let me ask you this, Robbie, right? If we got a bid for both of them strikers, right? Let's just say both of them, right, of 120 million quid combined for the pair, and we could go and sign up a Meccano, we could go and sign Thomas Partey, and I'm just going to throw a random striker in here that's got nothing to do with being great, but Callum Wilson, right? Them 3 players for 120 million quid that you've made for selling them to, would you do it?
Listen, I suppose you would, because you're talking about players in positions that we require right now.
Exactly.
So I hear you on that one, but I'm always of the thing that why the Arsenal Football Club, why are we always selling our best players? Why not be like those other clubs that build upon those best players? That's the thing that really, really annoys me with this football club. We're never building. Oh, we've got to sell in to get in. We got to, you know what I mean?
2 players away every time. 2 players away from being good every time, aren't we?
Anyway, that's it, because we never build upon it. We never build upon it. Let's just we're going to do a couple more comments because it's been brilliant tonight. We've been on for over an hour here today.
I'm quick.
Let's get this one on for Lee. Ozil is the big reason we're not in the 4th behind VAR. Not enough assists and lacks ability to shoot or score goals from outside the box. That's been a big problem with Ozil, man. Goals.
Shots. He's only had 7 of them all season.
He doesn't shoot, does he?
Nope. He's had 7 shots all season. How is that possible for an attacking midfielder? 7 shots.
Is that the stat? 7?
Well, yeah, but as far as last time I checked, he had 7 shots all season. Yeah, it's mad.
Capital Gunners, though, saying that Ozil should get an extension.
That's my pal. That is my pal. He's on a wind up.
Naftali says, did Arteta not play Martinelli because he wanted to protect Arsenal from the potential bigger European clubs coming in? I think he says he wants to protect Arsenal from having to sell Martinelli. I don't think that would be the reason why he didn't play him in a few games. I think with Martinelli, they're just looking on it like he's young. Let's not, and that's what I think. I mean, there were some games, though, that I wondered, why ain't he playing? I have to say.
Why didn't he come on until he came on in 105th minute or 106th minute? Within 2 seconds, it set something up. Yeah. It's just, it does boggle. But do you know what? I think with some of these young players, it's very easy. Same with Saka as well. It's very easy to get gassed about them and get hyped about them. We're all hyped about them too, in particular. Yeah. Next season will be the big test for them too, right? And if they kick on again, then you're like, yeah, now we've got proper players here, yeah, because they look like they can have that potential to be, but you just got to rein it in. Same with Saliba. What I was saying about Saliba. Saliba looks like a good player until he gets here. We don't know really, do we?
Alex says, Ozil, I can't understand why he don't whack the ball. Preem Prodigy said Mason Greenwood has more goals outside the box this season than Ozil has overall goals in the last 2 seasons. As we just said, Ozil doesn't score. I mean, Mason Greenwood is a striker. Let's remember that. But Ozil definitely does not score enough goals from midfield, does not shoot enough. For a guy of the ability that he has, he just doesn't. There was one game just before this whole coronavirus thing where I think it was West Ham or something where he was through, and instead of shooting, he just tried to lay it off.
Yeah, does it all the time. He does that little cutback, doesn't he, every time?
Bunny Boy says Lacazette and Aubameyang are 2 of the best strikers for a Europa side. We can't afford to let them go. I'm with you, Robbie. Keep Laka. I'm just off the thing, as I said, is that I just get really tired of selling our best players. It's just all the time Arsenal. Why you think to yourself sometimes, if we brought other players in to build upon what we've got, then we could be talking about the possibility of challenging. But it's not. It's always someone's always got to be sacrificed. And until we stop doing that, we're never going to get anywhere near the title.
No.
And
the reason why we're at that point is because we've mismanaged our money for so long that now it's all on top. And now with this extra thing, with football finished at the moment, it's now, highlighting it even more. And I'll tell you what, like I said earlier, when football comes back, I think there's going to be a whole restructure of a lot of football clubs, mate, because they can't keep running how they're running.
The Don and the Goat, says D. Crane there.
Oh, my guy, DJ Crane.
So big up, Lee. Listen, I want to thank you a lot for coming on tonight. It's been brilliant. We'll definitely get you back on again soon. And it don't look like you're going back to Spain anytime soon.
Mate, no, thank you, Robbie. Appreciate it for letting me on again, mate. And big up everyone in the chat as well. I've seen loads of people in there tonight.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Had a
mate.
massive response. Fantastic, fantastic. We're definitely going to get Lee back on again. Always love Lee's controversial opinion, trust me. But you know what I like about it? You always back it up. You always back it up.
Yeah,
so what on
corner? I might be 10 stone fucking wet, Robbie, but I'll still fight my corner.
Big up, Lee. Thanks once again. Thanks to everybody who's tuned into the show today. Don't forget, we'll be back in the morning. Also, don't forget to check out the quiz. Today's quiz is a good one. So make sure you check out the quiz. Get those answers in. And as I said, we've got a big announcement coming, right? Might be tomorrow. Definitely by Wednesday. Big announcement coming about a big initiative that we're doing to raise money for the NHS during this coronavirus crisis. So look out for that. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have yourself a great night.